Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is your mega.
It's too big.
Photo news fix. Not MAGA, mega. This fix is brought to you by Squarespace. And as you should know by now, I've been using Squarespace for JaredPolin.com, which is my own personal portfolio website for over 10 years now.
10 years!
The reason is I don't know coding and I have no desire to know coding. Now, do you remember when Facebook and Instagram went down recently? Yeah, if you housed your portfolio there, you were screwed. You need your own space. You can't rely on Instagram or Facebook to house your portfolio because you have no control. But with your own website built with Squarespace, you are in control. To get a 14-day free trial, head on over to squarespace.com/FroKnowsPhoto, and if you decide that it's for you, use the code FroKnowsPhoto at checkout to get 10% off your first order. First up, introducing the Canon PowerShot PX, which is an AI-powered camera that basically acts as your photographer to automatically take candid or posed photos, aka one of the worst ideas for a product ever, since the zoom. Basically, they took a surveillance camera and gave it the ability to pan, tilt, and zoom, and then slapped some AI in it and gave it a microphone, battery, and the ability to capture photos and videos, and thought they had a winner. To show us how amazing it is, Canon went ahead and made a great video. Dan, roll the clip starting at 11 seconds, please.
It knows when to take photos and video of moments I wouldn't usually capture. But what's even better, if I want a family selfie, I shout, "Hello, Pixie, take a picture." I have the perfect family portrait.
Perfect family portrait? I can't quite put my finger on it.
Her husband was an asshole, supposedly.
Oh, what's that? She's a divorcee, I'm being told?
He was a bad husband.
Ah, that's a relief because I was going to actually write that she was a widow. Too soon?
Jared was being an asshole?
Nah, because it's made up. It's all made up. You can't get offended when it's made up. I mean, you can, but it's made up.
Are you sure?
Canon goes on to show us what a photo taken with a smartphone looks like versus the PX. All that the smartphone picture is missing is one of my FroPack presets. That would make it instantly better. But with the PX one, where do I begin? It cuts little Seamus out of the photo, while Abigail steals another strawberry from him, and Tina? I don't even know what Tina's doing. So much for capturing the perfect images with AI. Though I don't think this will be a big seller for most people, there is one industry where I think it will be massive.
Don't go there!
Yeah, I'm gonna go there. Porn. Hey Canon, I even wrote a new commercial for you to advertise to the porn industry. But what I need everybody to do at home right now is close your eyes and imagine, because I don't have time to act it out. Are you an adult entertainer or an OnlyFans star who is tired of trying to get that perfect angle, or do you create with a partner and you're tired of that Rode microphone being the only part of them that you see? Hey, stop peeking. I said use your imagination and close your eyes. Well, I've got some great news for you. Introducing the Canon PowerShot P-XXX. Phone call. Hello? Oh, the Canon money truck's outside? Oh, okay, got it. This is the greatest camera ever, and you should go buy it right now. Next up, last week, Sony announced the Xperia Pro, not Pro 1. The first smartphone with a 1-inch sensor and 17 asterisks.
17!
Though it would have been better if it was called the One because it has a 1-inch sensor. Who makes this stuff up, guys? And one of those asterisks is that it's the first with a 1-inch sensor with phase detection autofocus, and I will get to one of the biggest asterisks in just a minute. But before I do that, let me hit you with the specs of this product that no one will actually buy.
You don't know me.
What? You know you're not buying it either, so don't yell at me while I yell at you.
Don't have to yell.
To be honest, there's not a money truck big enough to get me to give up using my iPhone in favor of the Pro I. Now, the Pro I has 3 cameras, with the main one being a 1-inch sensor that's normally found in the RX100, which is a point-and-shoot camera. Now, it's powered by the Snapdragon 888, has 5G, 12 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage, can take SDXC up to 1 terabyte, offers a headphone jack, 4,500 milliamp battery that can be fast charged to 50% in only 30 minutes, and is IP65 and 68 water and dust resistant. Now that that's out of the way, we can get into the photo features. You can shoot 12-bit RAW and choose between an f2 or f4 aperture, which is kind of cool because it's real depth of field versus software based. Just look at it opening and closing, opening and closing. Sony has included the Bion's X processor, 315 phase detect AF points that cover 90% of the 1-inch sensor. Now, this means you have real-time IAF with tracking and can shoot up to 20 frames per second in stills. Basically, you're getting the power of a point and shoot down to a dedicated shutter button in a phone, but there's a catch.
There's always a catch.
A catch that a lot of reviewers seemed to gloss right over. And this is the big asterisk right here. The phone cannot actually take advantage of the full 1-inch sensor. You're only able to use a smaller portion of that sensor. The reason is the lens would need to be much larger in order to utilize the full image sensor. Now sure, you might end up with cleaner images from the 1-inch cropped sensor versus a traditional one, but the phone is marketed as having a 1-inch sensor. Look, I think they did this to show Apple and Samsung that it can be done and give them both a roadmap to purchasing millions of 1-inch Sony sensors for future phones.
A heck of a sales pitch.
The truth of the matter is, almost no one is going to spend $1,800. Damn! Yes, $1,800 for that phone. Are you? And finally, unless you've been living under a rock for the last week, you've heard that Nikon has finally released the flagship Z9, and I had my hands on it for a 3-day period of time a few weeks ago. Now, if you haven't seen our hands-on preview just yet, it will be linked in the description to check out after the fix. But let's go over the key features right here. The Nikon Z9 houses a 45.7 megapixel BSI stacked CMOS sensor and officially does away with the mechanical shutter. Yes, you heard that right. Nikon took the shutter completely out and in its place put in a sensor shield that instantly comes down when the camera is off and instantly retracts when the camera turns back on. It's honestly one of the fastest starting mirrorless cameras I've ever used. Now, since there's no mechanical shutter, how bad will the rolling shutter be? Nikon says it achieves the world's smallest rolling shutter distortion, equaling that of a mechanical shutter. Now, we saw no rolling shutter issues in our first real-world tests with the camera, but we'll do much more when we get production units in our hands. The Z9 has a native ISO range of 64 to 25,600, has a max shutter speed of 1/32,000th of a second, can shoot at 20 frames per second in lossless compressed RAW. It does not shoot uncompressed RAW at all. It does 30 frames per second in JPEG only. And get this, it does 120 frames per second JPEGs that are 11 megapixels each. Now, the 120 frames per second may sound like a gimmick, but I think Sony and Canon will be copying it as soon as they can. The body is built extremely well, as you would expect from a Nikon flagship. It has an amazing 4-axis LCD touchscreen, a solid EVF, 2 CF Express card slots, massive battery, and a lot more. But the most important feature of the Z9 for me is autofocus. Its autofocus is solid. Now, I'm not quite ready to say that it matches Canon and Sony, but it's certainly nipping at their heels. The main reason the AF has been massively improved is the introduction of the Xpeed 7 processor, which is 10 times faster than the one found in the A7 II. Quickly, in terms of video, the Z9 can shoot 8K video up to 30p, 4K up to 120, and do all of this without a record limit or overheating. And in 2022, Nikon will update the firmware for free to allow 8K 60 internally. So yes, this camera is fully loaded, which would lead you to believe it would be priced accordingly, and surprisingly, it's not. Nikon slapped a $5,500 price tag on it, which puts it $500 less than the Canon R3 and $1,500 less than the A1 when you also buy the grip. Like I said in my preview video, if Nikon announced this camera 2 years ago, I probably would have never switched to Sony. Nikon, you did a really nice job. And there you have it. That's your photo news fix this time around. To check out the Nikon Z9 preview, go ahead and click on the screen right here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and that's where I'm gonna leave it. Jared, Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.